Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another powerful session of our Lead with Impact Live series. And I want to ask you something. Have you ever seen someone get promoted and thought, wait a minute, how did they move up? You put in the hours, you deliver results, you've done everything they told you to do, yet you're still the one waiting. Well, here's the truth. The corporate ladder isn't climbed through hard work alone. It's navigated through understanding the unspoken rules of leadership. And that's why today we are breaking down exactly what separates those who get promoted from those who get overlooked. And I couldn't do it without my guest today, who's always the incredible Dr. Ondreia Clark. She has worked with rising leaders across industries, helping them step into executive level influence. So I want to make sure that we have an engaged audience. So if you hear something you like, this is the time not to be shy, but to get involved, to get engaged. And I want you to drop in the comments if you've ever felt that you've been overlooked for a leadership role. Just put fire, just put like a fire symbol in the chat so that we know, yeah, this is something that happened to you. So let me ask my co-host right here, Ondreia, and let's start out with this. What's the biggest misconception professionals have about what it takes to advance into executive leadership?
Well, first of all, hello, Grant. It's always a pleasure to connect with you on these Friday lives as we delve into, different strategies and giving people different insight. So this is a very exciting topic for me. And I think it's something that a lot of people can resonate. You put in the work. You're even getting maybe recognition and awards, but you're not going to that next level as far as a leader. So a lot of times we find ourselves in these conundrums because we're not necessarily going into the workforce or into our organization and pivoting or positioning ourselves, I should say, as an asset, really thinking about how can I add value? How can I always say, use yourself as the business of you, and your organization is your business collaborating with another entity, right? And whenever we think of collaboration, you want that reciprocity there. You want both entities to bring their values, their assets, and their skills to take, the department, the vision, or whatever your position is to the next level. So I think a lot of times we get stuck when we don't see ourselves as an individual business. And most of all, we don't really see how we can strategically not look at ourselves just as a worker, but act like an investor instead of seeing yourself as someone who does the work. See yourself as someone who invests in skills, time, and ideas into the company for long-term impact. Because executives really, love a good ROI. So let's think of this for an example. In the next meeting, instead of just saying, I completed this project or I completed this task, you could consider saying, this project increased in efficiency by 20% and saved our company $100,000, just to show them that you have made your skills, your talent, your time, and your ideas have made significant return on the investments for the bottom line of the organization.
This is so important. And what I heard you say is it's around a mind shift change, seeing yourself differently. A company will only pay you what they can afford to pay you. You need to understand your total worth. Right? What are you truly worth, not only to yourself, your business, your enterprise, the industry? What does that look like? Understanding when you sign the contract to be a W-2 employee, that's exactly what it is. It's a contract of service. You are in the business of employing yourself, right? And when you employ yourself, you have to understand all the roles of the business, just like Ondreia said. When you start to see big picture, not just what you're doing, but see the value that you're bringing to the table, Here's a fact most people don't realize. Let's just say you're being hired for a position. Your position is $100,000. They're going to pay you $100,000 to do what you are paid to do. That means your position typically is worth $300,000 in value. It's a 3x multiple. So if you look and behave as if you are a $300,000 asset instead of a $100,000 asset, that's big time. And if you can demonstrate that value to the rest of your teammates and your peers, they are going to see what you are truly about. And then that could strategically place you into a different level. So for those of you who are watching right now, what's the first mind shift that you need to make as you just heard from me and Ondreia, is kind of giving you a little bit of information out there and start seeing yourself as an asset, not just as an employee, as Ondreia said. And this is important. So if you know you're capable of leading at a higher level, I want you to type in "I am ready" in the comments. Can you do that for us? I am ready. And while you're doing that, I'm going to ask Ondreia this next question. So Ondreia, we got to get real. Some people rise quickly while others stay stuck for years. So what do those high performers do differently, in your opinion?
And I like this question because it allows me to think back of my career trajectory. And over the course of years, I was typically getting promoted to different levels in my position. About a year and a half or even 2 years top. So I was constantly getting offered new roles, new positions. Even when I transitioned out of corporate America, I transitioned at the top of a new promotion that had my name on it. They asked me several times, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" AKA, "This is yours," and it was right on par, that 1.5, 2 year mark for me, in terms of the rhythm. So when you say what separates that type of trajectory from the people that endure bottleneck, I would say it's, first of all, you have to think differently. Like you said, a mindset shift. For myself, I never like to just go in spinning my wheels doing work. I like to ask questions like, why? What is the big picture? If I'm in this particular role, how does it serve a greater purpose, right? And even if no one is telling me that or answering that question for me initially, guess what? I send an email, I knock on some doors, and I reach out to people because I need to know, how are my contributions adding up to the larger mission of the organization, so I'll know how to reverse engineer that, and I know how to strategically think on better ways, better systems, better process that can make the big picture, even better. So we want to think of strategic conversation, strategic communication. As I told you, Grant, I didn't necessarily just go in as a worker. I wanted to be very strategic on who I communicated with, how I communicated with them, and made sure that our communication time was valuable for them. Also, this is something in your expertise, you want to build a personal brand within the organization, right? You want to let them know who you are, what you do, and how it serves the overall mission. So these are something you really have to think of. I love big picture is always a big thing for me. Strategically having the right conversations, asking the right questions with the right people. Building that professional brand, or personal brand rather, is always big. As far as being seen, not only within your organization, but within other departments within your organizations, right? And then also you want to connect your work with the business goals. And like I said, I never showed up as just a task doer. I always knew that my presence had power. It was an asset. Like I said, you have to look at yourself. Doesn't matter how big the organization is, you are in the business of you. So me, I come in, I am naturally a collaborator. So I'm going to use my skills, time, and my talents as an asset to the big picture of this organization. Those type of things are coupled over time. And then you look up People are offering you positions. Positions are created specifically for you. And that's what's happened to me throughout the 25 years in healthcare and STEM.
Wow, that is impressive. I'm gonna say you took the reins and you went forward. You were very proactive.
Yeah.
And you had the insight, and then you made that the executive decisions to improve in your own work, and then and others see you. You became visible into your eyes. Now we see that Peter out here says he is ready. Peter said, I am ready to advance in my work. So we're going to definitely want to give you some insights to get you there. You have to do the hard work. That's the part of it. The heavy lifting has to come from you. And here's something that a lot of people don't realize, and it comes in that word of strategic communication. And this is not just about how you speak to people, how you maybe do presentations or things like that, how you're visibly appearing to them. It's the perception that your organization has of you. How do they see you? Because if you are seen only in a particular role or a particular skill set or a particular ability, it's going to be difficult to begin to transcend that particular perception over time. Let me give you a case in point. And I always go back to my own life. But I remember being a little kid and I was sitting there watching television. And I come home after school and I would love watching Gilligan's Island. That was my thing. I come home, I watch Gilligan's Island. And Gilligan would come out there with his little white cap and his red shirt. And he always do something stupid to get them to stay on the island. That was Gilligan's thing, right? Well, the actor who played him, I think his name was John Denver. He always talked about that he became typecast for that role. So when he would look in, remember, he's in Hollywood. He's an actor. This is not the only thing he can do. But when he starts seeking other opportunities, other roles, he was not getting the roles in movies and TV and commercials because he was typecast.
Yeah.
You got to look at yourself and say, am I typecast in this role? And this happens if you're in a particular role for a particularly long period of time. Typically, like executives, they might be in that role maybe for 4 to 5 years. If that, some is about 3 years. You have to look at yourself. And it's not bad to be with a company for 20 years, but we see that the norm now is that is really, really changing. So you want to begin as you start out, just like what Dr. Clark just talked about. Start out, you want to get in, do the job, do it well, but be thinking about that next opportunity. Be looking at that and let people know that you are interested in advancement and that you're demonstrating the skill set and the perceptions to be able to do that, because you're killing it over here. I am great over here, but I am so much more than just that. And let me show you how much I can really bring to the table. I think this is so important.
Yeah. I want to interject real quick in what you say, your work should speak for yourself. And that is so true. And many mentors have told me that. But think, your work should speak for you. So what I've learned, if all you people see you as is what your expertise in, then you're kind of doing a disservice to yourself. You want to have your work and your skills transcend beyond your expertise, right? So that's how, we're always upskilling, right? Adding new skills, adding, when I was up for a position as, to start that new department with Mayo Clinic, guess what? I didn't just depend on my laboratory and research experience. I went back working full-time during the day, but then I went and attended weekend project management courses to upskill myself, because I knew you're always in a competitive situation. So you want to also, like I said, you need to look beyond just your expertise and think about, how can my skills, my expertise, and my work speak for me? And how does this experience that I've garnered, how is it relevant to leadership and what they deem as important?
So important. I hope Peter, you're getting some nuggets of wisdom here that you can take to heart and begin to invest in yourself and really do a good self-assessment. What skill sets do I truly have?
Yeah.
And sometimes, we may feel we have certain skill sets. You might have a certain degree of expertise there, but not complete degree. What is the degree of expertise do I need to operate at the next level? And what do I need to do to acquire that particular asset or tool set, and what that, or a mindset, just a matter of idea. I want to ask this to Ondreia. Most professionals have no idea what actually is discussed in executive meetings, especially when promotions are decided. So I want to pull back the curtain just a little bit, because I think you've been in those rooms. What exactly are, executive, CEOs, C-suite people really looking for?
They're looking for someone that's future focused. As you said, I love the point that you brought up. Even if you're getting a position that's worth of 100K in salary, this is typically a big role with a lot of responsibility. Really, on paper, this position is very well worth 300K or plus, right? So they want to see not your work kind of stammering around the 100K aspect. They want to see that your work is really worth 300K. Even though the budget and things of that nature can only pay you a certain price point, you want to make sure that your work is transformative. I'll give you a story. Whenever I was at the National Institute of Health, working in the laboratory department of laboratory medicine, and when the executives flew in from Mayo Clinic to introduce themselves to me, they had a little section in the lab. It was just a little dark hole in the wall part of the lab. But when I came in, I said, no, we have to change this whole thing around. We put up signs, and I changed the flow and the operation. So when they came into my environment, my house, right, it evoked a feeling with them. In them, right? So my work was transformative. And then that transformative feeling that they had, it evoked a vision, right? Wow, if she did this for this little dark hole, corner at NIH, what can it made them imagine of something more, or where they can apply and I can utilize my skill. So I say that to say, is your work transformative? How leaders see not only the work that you do, your influence with your team. How do you make your team and your peers better because you are in that department, because you are taking on that project? How have you edified and transformed the environment that you have stepped in, right? And that's something that leadership on whatever level, you just can't bypass. That's how your name is discussed in rooms that you're not physically in, because people have seen and felt your work, and it's evoked a vision in them, and they start to wonder, right? And say, wow, where else can we put Grant? Where else can we put Ondreia? If she did this, it makes them wonder. And that's the type of work that you need to exhibit no matter what position you're at.
Transformative, change the culture, change what is happening. You just reminded me of one of the very, very first podcasts that I ever did on Follow the Brand. Now we're at our 200, just about our 200th show, but I think it was either the third or fourth show, I had Ondreia Price on. Ondreia Price is the former CEO of a healthcare system in the Midwest. And one of the things that I heard her say is exactly what you said, that she had inspired her team. She inspired her team to do better. And then when other people would not only just engage with her, but engage with other people on their team, and they would see the work that they did, they would say, oh, they must be on Andrew's team. That's why they're so good.
Yeah.
Now, is that talk about, developing your personal brand? How about that? When your team, the people that are reporting to you, are seen as to be a cut above just because of the ethic and the things that they're doing, I think that's wonderful. These are ways that you get noticed, just like what you just said. So I want our audience, I want you to think about these things. So if this conversation is shifting the way you think about leadership, the things that you're thinking about, put an emoji in there about a little light bulb, or you can just write the letters light in there, that this is lighting you up. This is something that you're engaging with, and this is bringing you to another level. So if you're watching this right now, you want to be a top candidate for promotion. Now I'm going to ask this again to Ondreia. If somebody wants to come to our Lead with Impact, we're going to have our workshop here in a couple of weeks. If somebody wants to come to our Lead with Impact, what's one thing that they should start doing immediately to get them to where they want to go?
Immediately, first, they need to recognize that, where I'm at, what skills do I need to acquire to take me to where I want to be, right? And that's the vehicle that takes you from point A to B. And that's what we're essentially doing with Lead with Impact. These are for, leaders don't ponder and ruminate, oh, should I? They are decision makers, right? So you take action, you sign up for the courses. As I told you, I didn't wait. Oh, should I, just solely lean on my science background? No, I need other skills. So I acted, I signed up for the courses. I signed up for the workshops like Lead with Impact. And that's what leaders do. They take action. They strike, as they say, while the iron is hot. And that's what the Lead with Impact Summit is doing. It's giving you a safe space, right? To not only learn new skills, but then we put you in high stake conversations in an executive boardroom where you can exercise these skills so you can prepare yourself to be in these high stake conversations in real time as you ascend yourself as a leader. So, it's the difference between doers and it's a difference between talkers, and Lead with Impact is definitely for the doers. So, this is a great opportunity for you to identify skill gaps, get versed in your strategic and visionary leadership. Grant goes into the executive presence, the gravitas, how your presence alone can move the room. We have a exceptional TEDx speaker, that's coming on board, Rosemary, teaching us how to speak like a leader without saying a word, right? And then, of course, we have to know the mission, and the mission is always financial. It boils down to the numbers. How well versed are you in your financial acumen? So we have a former CFO from Orlando Health, Latasha Barnes, coming in and really deep diving in to shake up your comfortability so you can break through to the next level. And so I'm really excited with Lead with Impact. It's jam-packed with a lot of treats along the way.
Absolutely. And you've got to take advantage of this. We're talking about a very small investment, but you got to look at yourself. If you want to get to a promotion, if that is your goal, what is your goal of even watching this program right now? You are doing this for career development. You're looking for business development. How are you going to get to the next level is so important. And you have to understand the difference of things I can do myself as opposed to things that someone needs to teach me, to give me insight on. There's a DIY approach. You can get a lot of information. I tell people all the time, you can get information all day now, watching the YouTube or something to that effect. I can watch a YouTube and I can watch a house being built. But I guarantee you, if I went out and got my little hammer and my saw and I tried to build a house, I'm going to struggle. I'm going to struggle mightily because I've never built a house. And I need someone to show me how to go through the process of building that house. And your career is a house. And there's a point in time that you come to in which you invest in your house because it's going to appreciate in value. I want your career to appreciate in value. I don't want someone to then just offer you $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, $110,000. When you know good full and well you're worth $300,000, $400,000, and you understand the numbers behind it. I know that someone's going to pay me $300,000. That means this is $1 million operation. If you've got $1 million operations, you want somebody with $1 million worth of value that they're going to bring to the table. You have to demonstrate that. So when we go back to the beginning, of this whole conversation at the beginning, about a half hour or so ago, we talked about why you're not getting the promotion. Why were you passed over? What were the reasons? I'm doing the work. You have to honestly ask yourself, were you doing the work? Or maybe you did do the work, but you didn't do more than the work. All you did was build the wall. We're building a house. The wall, you don't get it. Are you
you have to know, right? That's the mission, the objective, because you can get lost in, I built this great wall, but you have no clue that you're building an actual house. So you have to be in sync in that type of conversation. Yeah.
100% on that. 100%. I'm going to get the floor back to you. We've got about 4 minutes left. I think our audience is really thinking about these things. They're like, what they're saying is important. These are the things I need to know. I need to understand. I need to understand where is my work speaking for itself, or is just speaking a little bit, or do I truly understand my relationship with my other peer group, and is it being resonant to what I'm bringing to the table, or is there a disconnect where I think I'm bringing value and I'm not bringing value? Because executives promote those who show, as Ondreia said, strategic thinking and business impact. Leadership is not giving, it's claim. Are you claiming your leadership? I want you to write or type in, I am claiming my leadership. I am a leader in the comment section. If you feel you are a leader, show us. Say, I am a leader. Let us know. Ondreia Clark, are you a leader?
I'm definitely a leader. I was born a leader, Grant. It was just a matter of time. And that's how you have to look at it. You have to be born with that drive, with that vision, with that always the curiosity for more, right? And then it's just a matter of time where the preparation meets the opportunity, and it can not only transform your life, your resources, your business acumen, so many things of that nature. So, they say it's no thing as luck. It's where preparation meet opportunity. And that's what the Lead with Impact event is doing. It's preparing you for the next role. It's taking you out of your comfort zone. It's meant to shake up some things within you to say, hold on, I have some skill gaps here. How can I strengthen these muscles so I can build, as you said, my house on a solid foundation?
This is so important. Look at it. Emmanuel has stepped up. He's a leader. He says, absolutely, perception is just as crucial as performance. Decision makers promote those they see as leaders, not just high achievers. Correct. Here's this question, how can professionals shape perception while staying authentic? What do you think about that, Dr. Clark?
Well, I know you're the personal brand expert when it comes to this. So thank you so much, first of all, Emmanuel, for this question. How can professionals shape perception while staying authentic, right? I lead personally with authenticity because it takes too much energy for me to be someone else, right? So trusting in your authentic skills and personality type is always going to make you stand out, because people naturally, whether they realize it or not, they naturally connect with people that they feel that's exuding their self in an authentic way, right? So, not only am I typically authentic on all platforms, but I learned how leadership moves. Like, I look at people 5, 10 years ahead of me and my role and what I want to do and what I desire to do, right? And I study them because I always believe success leaves clues, right? So even though I know I have my own unique personal brand, right? I also take the tools and information that I learned from leaders that I'm studying, of places that they've been in their career, and I incorporate that in and make a nice, it complements my unique personality. And then I still strategically communicate and move and arrive at the places and spaces of mentors and other senior leaders or business owners now that I deem to go. So I think a mesh of both of those worlds, knowing how is unique selling proposition, right? Knowing how you uniquely show up, hold on to that, never let that go. But then also study success, surround yourself with successful people, and integrate the two.
We're at the top, we're at the bottom of our time at this point. Manuel, I want to thank you for that question. I'm going to challenge everybody on the call. If you really want to get my answer to that question, how can professionals shape perception while staying authentic? Come to Lead with Impact. March 22nd, March 23rd, Miami-Dade. It's a day and a half. You will not regret it. Go to Lead with Impact. Now, I'm going to go to Dr. Clark. Tell us exactly how they can sign up.
So you can sign up and register. Registration is still open. Seats are selling really fast because we only opened it up for 40 participants. But go to Upskill, UPSKILLEDU.net /events, or you can just go to upskill.edu. It has a big event page. Go ahead and register and get your ticket today. And you can also catch our ongoing career development skill building strategies on our podcast of Skills Without Borders. We're located on Spotify and Apple as well.
Exactly. So, Peter, definitely want to answer your question. We can't do it today. We're out of time, but I will see you at the Lead with Impact. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.